With the WINN FM News, I am Kevin Brown. Our top stories. No land issues, no delays, declares Prime Minister Drew on new climate smart national hospital. Traffic Department highlights urgent need for road safety awareness for the holiday weekend. ECCB confirms Grenada's $50 commemorative banknote as legal tender across the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Archbishop in St. Lucia highlights importance of priesthood and service. Grenada Ministry of Health monitoring measles resurgence in the U.S. U.S.-China trade war. Chinese businesses look to new markets. Now, the details. Prime Minister the Honourable Dr. Terence Drew has emphatically confirmed that all land acquisition matters relating to the new Climate Smart National Hospital project have been fully resolved, ensuring no delays in what promises to be a transformative advancement for healthcare service in the Federation. In a recent public statement, Prime Minister Drew addressed concerns and clarified that the process of securing the necessary land has been finalized.
With respect to the new hospital that is going to be built, it's well on its way. I can say that clearly. There is no matter about land that will stop the construction of this hospital.
The Prime Minister further explained that the government had acted decisively to acquire land from various owners to facilitate the smooth process of the ambitious project. This landmark undertaking encompasses not only the hospital but also envisions a comprehensive health city.
As I said, you had persons there who owned land, and the government has moved to acquire that land, and that land will be used to build a modern hospital, and we will establish a health city where you'll have a medical school, the hospital, research lab, Ross on the other end, and that area will be a modern area to deliver health care.
The forthcoming facility, situated in a strategic zone, will integrate cutting-edge climate-smart technologies designed to withstand challenges posed by climate change and extreme weather events. The establishment of this health city, featuring a medical school and research laboratory alongside the hospital, underscores the government's vision for a modernized health sector poised to serve both national and regional needs. The Prime Minister's declaration brings renewed confidence that construction is imminent and that the project remains on schedule. This endeavor is part of a broader government strategy to elevate healthcare quality, infrastructure, and sustainability across St. Kitts and Nevis. With the land acquisition phase complete and collaboration underway with international partners, particularly Taiwan and the Overseas Engineering and Construction Company, OECC, the government is poised to make history by delivering a state-of-the-art medical facility that will serve future generations. The community eagerly anticipates the economic and social benefits that this significant investment will bring to the nation's healthcare landscape. On April 17, 2025, the Bastia Magistrate Court was the scene of significant judicial proceedings as officers from the Traffic Department under the leadership of Inspector Gordon brought multiple cases before Her Honor Sherry-Ann Liebert Charles. Several traffic matters were heard and resolved, underscoring the continuing challenges the Federation faces in maintaining road safety. Among the outcomes, 2 notable convictions were recorded for the offenses of driving without due care and attention. Delicia Anthony of Keon was found guilty following trial and was fined $1,000, with the alternative of serving 14 days imprisonment should the fine remain unpaid after 1 month. This offense dates back to January 29, 2024. Similarly, Joseph Siraj of Lodge Village was found guilty of a traffic accident on May 4, 2025, and received a $2,000 fine or a 14-day imprisonment sentence if the fine is not paid within the same time frame. In addition to these convictions, 17 ticket matters were withdrawn upon proof of payment and 13 matters were adjourned to June 26, 2025. The court also issued a bench warrant for Girish Hiranandani, demonstrating the ongoing legal enforcement actions in traffic-related incidents. As we are in observance of the solemnity of the Holy Holiday Weekend, the Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force urges every motorist to exercise due care and attention while traversing our nation's roads. These convictions stand as a serious reminder that careless and inattentive driving not only jeopardizes lives but also carries firm legal consequences. The police force appeals for the spirit of the season to be honored through responsible driving, mutual respect among road users, and a collective commitment to ensure that everyone arrives safely at their destination. In another significant case heard on April 15, 2025 at the Bastia Magistrates Court, Her Honor Rhonda Nisbet Brown presided over the conviction of Akil Clavier, a bus driver from Keon. Clavier was found guilty of exceeding the speed limit on May 5, 2023 at Johnson Long Path and was ordered to pay a fine of $3,000 or face 3 months imprisonment. This conviction highlights a deeply troubling and persistent issue within the Federation: the growing number of drivers who flagrantly disregard posted speed limits. Speeding is consistently cited as one of the leading causes of severe road traffic accidents in St. Kitts and Nevis, often resulting in catastrophic injuries or fatal outcomes. Lives can be irrevocably changed in mere seconds due to a driver's neglect to adhere to fundamental road safety laws. It is with urgency and solemnity that the police department reminds all motorists that speed limits are in place to safeguard the lives of drivers, passengers, pedestrians, and cyclists alike. The traffic department remains vigilant in its efforts to enforce traffic laws through patrols, speed checks, and prosecutorial actions in the courts. Road users are strongly urged to observe posted speed limits, drive responsibly, and remain alert at all times to prevent avoidable tragedies. The Royal St. Christopher and Nevis Police Force reaffirms its dedication to promoting road safety and preserving life within the Federation. The conviction of Clavier serves as a clear, unambiguous message: reckless driving carries serious consequences. The collective impact of traffic violations, particularly speeding and careless driving, extends beyond individual cases. Road safety remains a critical public health and economic concern, with accidents placing significant strain on healthcare services and imposing heavy economic burdens on families and the nation. A growing number of traffic accidents in recent years, many attributed to reckless speeding and distracted driving, highlight the pressing necessity for continued improvements in enforcement, public education, and road infrastructure. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis, through initiatives such as the Sustainable Road Safety Project, is implementing data-driven strategies including upgraded traffic enforcement measures, adoption of high-tech ticketing systems, and infrastructure adjustments to combat these challenges and aim for zero traffic fatalities by 2030. As the Federation observes the Holy Weekend, this should be a time for reflection not only on spiritual matters but also on the responsibility each road user bears for the safety of all. The Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, has officially affirmed that the recently issued Grenada $50 banknote is legal tender throughout the 8 member countries of the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union, ECCU. The declaration means that the banknote is valid for all standard and over-the-counter business transactions in Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, the Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The commemorative banknote was released in July 2024 as part of the collaborative effort between the ECCB and the Government of Grenada to mark Grenada's 50th anniversary of independence. Although the note was issued exclusively within Grenada, its acceptance spans the entire currency union, thereby promoting unity and a shared heritage through a tangible medium. Notably, the Grenada $50 banknote is crafted from polymer, aligning with contemporary security practices. It maintains the exact dimensions as the current $50 notes in circulation within the ECCU, measuring 132 millimeters by 65 millimeters. This ensures consistency for users and eases integration into existing banking and commercial systems. The banknote also incorporates several advanced security features designed to combat counterfeiting, including a color-changing foil strip, complex polymer windows within the holographic strip, fluorescent and magnetic strips, and tactile embossing to assist the visually impaired. The design of the banknote is rich in cultural symbolism and historical tribute. It prominently features portraits of 2 of Grenada's former prime ministers, Sir Eric Matthew Gerry on the front and Maurice Bishop on the back, paying homage to their pivotal role in shaping the nation's political and social landscape. Beyond the portraits, the banknote narrates Grenada's unique story, highlighting influential figures, cultural elements, and landmarks that are integral to the island's identity. An ECCB representative underscored the banknote's legitimacy and appeal to the public and financial institutions alike.
I just want to reiterate that the Grenada $50 banknote is legal tender. It is a circulation banknote that can be used in any of the ECCB countries. The Grenada $50 banknote is slightly different from the present ECCB $50. It is the same size as the present $50. It is made from polymer. It has the raised bump at the top left-hand corner of the banknote that actually forms a triangle. It has Sir Eric Geary at the front of the banknote and Maurice Bishop at the back, I just want to encourage you, the general public, the businesses, the commercial banks, the credit unions, to please accept the Grenada $50 banknote when it is presented to you.
This issuance not only celebrates Grenada's half-century milestone of independence, but also reinforces monetary integration and cooperation within the Eastern Caribbean region. By honoring historical leaders and cultural heritage through its design, the note fosters a sense of shared identity across the ECCU member states. As the banknote circulates across the region, businesses, financial institutions, and consumers are encouraged to recognize and accept this commemorative currency, ensuring its seamless integration into everyday commerce throughout the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. In regional news, Archbishop in St. Lucia highlights importance of priesthood and service. DBS St. Lucia reports.
During Wednesday's Christmas, Archbishop Gabriel Malzier, in his reflection of Christ's life and resurrection, encouraged fellow priests to recommit their lives to service as they are the beacon of light to Christians. The pivotal role of priest should not be taken lightly, but held with utmost pride as God's appointed. As Easter Sunday approaches, the Archbishop reminded Christians of the role of repentance as they tread the Christian path.
As part of this year's Jubilee event in the Archdiocese, we celebrate it as Jubilee for Priests, under the theme, Pilgrims of Hope on a Journey of Healing and Reconciliation. Biblically, Jubilee signifies a time of renewal, forgiveness, and new beginnings.
Archbishop Malzier honed in on the significance of 2025 as the Jubilee year, outlining upcoming events for Catholics. He reminds priests to not abuse their power as they serve humanity for the cause of God and not for self.
Every high priest has been taken from among human beings and appointed to act on their behalf in their relation with God, to offer gifts and sacrifices for sins, and so to sympathize with those who are ignorant or uncertain, because he too lives in limitation of weakness. That is why he has to make sin offering for himself as well as for the people.
Archbishop Gabriel Malzier encourages priests who renewed their vows to be shepherds as Christ was, showing compassion to his sheep. He also reminds individuals to continue their repentant journey as Easter approaches, which will signify new life in Christ as he has risen. For the DBS News World, Manasseh Stanislas reporting.
Grenada Ministry of Health monitoring measles resurgence in the U.S. Grenada Broadcasting Network has the details.
Grenada remains measles-free with no reported cases. However, the Ministry of Health is not letting its guards down in light of the recent measles outbreak in the United States of America. As of today, there has been 3 confirmed deaths from ongoing measles outbreak in the U.S. Over 600 cases have been reported, mainly in the Southwest. According to reports, all that involve unvaccinated individuals. While Grenada has no current outbreak, measles could be imported by travelers. Backed by the Pan American Health Organization and the World Health Organization, the ministry emphasizes the importance of vaccination as the most effective defense against measles. Grenada has a long-standing history of successful immunization programs, but recent declines in vaccine coverage highlights the need for renewed efforts. The ministry urges parents to ensure that children receive all recommended vaccines and encourages adults to verify their vaccination status. In addition to vaccination, the ministry is enhancing surveillance systems and public education campaigns to address potential risks. The public is therefore advised to practice good hygiene, avoid close contact with individuals showing symptoms, and seek medical attention if measles exposure is suspected. Measles is an airborne disease that spreads through respiratory droplets. Symptoms typically appear within 7 to 14 days after exposure and include high fever, cough, runny nose, red eyes, and a distinctive rash that starts on the face and spreads across the body. Severe complications such as pneumonia and even death can occur, particularly in young children and individuals with weakened immune systems. Importantly, measles is classified as a potentially fatal illness, especially in unvaccinated populations, where mortality rates are higher due to a lack of immunity. According to medical practitioners, the measles, mumps, and rubella (MMR) vaccines is 93% effective with 1 dose and 97% effective with 2 doses. The last recorded case of measles in Grenada was in 1991, with no subsequent local transmission reported since then. The Caribbean region, including Grenada, was declared measles-free by the Pan American Health Organization in December 2024. Christina John, GBN News.
We now bring you these international reports.
Danny Lau owns an aluminium factory in China's southern industrial city of Dongguan. He moved here from Hong Kong in the 1990s to take advantage of mainland China's lower manufacturing costs. He's faced economic pressure before, but nothing on the scale of the escalating trade war between China and the United States.
We've gone through a few rounds of economic turmoil, but indeed this time is the most difficult. We didn't expect that our orders would suffer so heavily under the tariff war.
1/3 of Danny's clients are in the States. His factory was hit with a 25% tariff during Donald Trump's first term, but the tariff he's facing now has increased threefold to 75%.
Most of the replies I received from our US clients said the possibility of continuing the business with us is low. They said the chances are slim. Only one of the clients said he would like to keep the current project going because he cannot find others to finish the order. But the order is small. In general, prospects are grim.
Since late last year, with the threat of tariffs looming, Danny began to explore new markets, but the size of the American market makes it hard to replace.
In terms of population, consumption capacity, and the degree of development, the US market has big advantages. It can pay, and they have demand for high quality and punctual delivery. It's such a big market that it's difficult to replace. Most of our profits come from the US market, so without that market, it would be difficult for us.
From the manufacturing industry to high-tech exports, the manager of virtual reality gaming arcade in Guangzhou is also trying to compensate for loss in American business.
The economy of the US is declining. So is Europe. We had to change our mindsets or to find other markets. We found that the markets of Southeast Asia, Latin America and the Middle East are quite similar to that of China in terms of living standards, views on consumption and regional cultural similarities.
Many experts say China's ability to innovate and deal with economic pressure with little political fallout means it is, in some ways, better equipped than the United States to weather the tariff storm. Alex Beard, Al Jazeera.
A series of US airstrikes kills dozens and injures more at Yemen's Ras Isa oil port. It's the deadliest attack since the US escalated strikes in January against what it says are Houthi military targets. But this was a working oil facility and civilian workers were on site at the time of the attack. The Houthi authorities make up most of the dead. The port is a vital lifeline for Yemen, according to the United Nations. US President Donald Trump ordered an intensification of US strikes against the Houthis in Yemen last month. US Central Command released video which Al Jazeera cannot independently verify, but the US military says it shows fighter jets taking off from warships, conducting operations against Houthi targets, but no date is specified. Despite the high death toll in this latest attack, analysts say this will not stop the Houthis from attacking Israel in solidarity with the Palestinian cause.
This strategy actually did not stop Yemeni from launching attack against Israel or continue their blockade against Israeli ship in the Red Sea or either stopping attacking United States battleship.
The US military says the airstrikes were intended to cut off the Houthis' sources of fuel and revenue. The US has said that it will not stop airstrikes until the Houthis cease attacking ships in the Red Sea. The attack has shocked and angered people across the region because of the number of civilians killed. Local TV channels have reported that anger, calling the strikes pure US aggression. In March, another attack killed at least 50 people. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera.
The US Supreme Court early on Saturday paused President Donald Trump's administration from deporting Venezuelan men in immigration custody, after their lawyers said they were at imminent risk of removal without the judicial review the court had insisted on. Lawyers for the American Civil Liberties Union filed urgent requests on Friday in multiple courts, including the Supreme Court, urging immediate action. They said some of the men had already been loaded onto buses and were told they were to be deported. The latest escalation is centred on dozens of Venezuelans held at the Blue Bonnet detention facility in Anson, Texas. The ACLU said the rapid developments meant the administration was poised to deport the men, using a 1798 law historically used only in wartime. It would not have given them a realistic opportunity to contest their removal, as the Supreme Court had required. The White House did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the Supreme Court decision. Conservative Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito publicly dissented from the decision.
That criminals, fraudsters, and illegal aliens.
The case raises questions about the Trump administration's adherence to limits set by the Supreme Court, and it could herald a significant clash between the two co-equal branches of government, potentially even a full-blown constitutional crisis. Trump was elected on a promise to crack down on migrants. He has invoked the 1798 Alien Enemies Act in an attempt to swiftly deport accused members of the Tren de Aragua, a criminal gang originating from Venezuelan prisons, which his administration labels a terrorist group. The president and his senior aides have asserted their executive power grants them wide authority on immigration matters, testing the balance of power between branches of government. At issue is whether the Trump administration has met the Supreme Court's standard for allowing due process before sending the detainees to another country, possibly to the notorious prison in El Salvador where others are jailed. It was unclear on Friday how many people were potentially to be deported and where they might be taken.
President Trump has confirmed that the US will walk away from attempts to reach a Russia-Ukraine peace deal unless progress is made soon. He was echoing comments made earlier in the day by his Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who, on a trip to Paris, said the US would give up if there was no movement in a matter of days. From Washington, here's John Sudworth.
Russian missiles continue to pound Ukraine. This attack left one person dead and injured more than 100. But the man who once said he'd end the war on day one seems to be having second thoughts about ending it at all.
If for some reason one of the two parties makes it very difficult, we're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're going to just take a pass. But hopefully we won't have to do that.
The threat to walk away has come as a surprise. Talks between US, Ukrainian and European officials who met in Paris this week were said to be going well. The first sign that something was wrong, though, came from one of those in attendance, America's top diplomat.
But we're not going to continue with this endeavor for weeks and months on end. So we need to determine very quickly now, and I'm talking about a matter of days, whether or not this is doable over the next few weeks. If it is, we're in. If it's not, then we have other priorities to focus on as well.
America's allies are wondering what it all means. Progress on a minerals deal in which the US gets access to Ukrainian resources is still being talked up by Washington as a demonstration of its long-term commitment to the country. On the other hand, Ukraine is increasingly troubled by the US president's outreach to Russia. His envoy Steve Witkoff talks of a friendship with Vladimir Putin and of the compelling commercial opportunities with Moscow. For now, Mr. Trump says he's still holding out hope of a peace deal.
I have to see, my whole life has been one big negotiation, and I know when people are playing us, and I know when they're not, and I have to see an enthusiasm to want to end it. And I think I see that enthusiasm. I think I see it from both sides. But you're going to know soon. Right now, you don't know. You're playing cards. You're playing cards.
After this highly public confrontation in February,
you're gambling with World War III.
Volodymyr Zelensky has continued to come under criticism from Mr. Trump, who said this week he was not a big fan of the Ukrainian leader. Whether the US threat to step back is real or a negotiating tactic, Fears that Russia is now gaining the upper hand mean it's Ukraine that's feeling the pressure.
You were listening to the WINN FM 98.9 newscast. Our top stories were: no land issues, no delays, declares Prime Minister Drew on new climate-smart national hospital. Traffic Department highlights urgent need for road safety awareness for the holiday weekend. ECCB confirms Grenada's $50 commemorative banknote as legal tender across the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union. Archbishop in St. Lucia highlights importance of priesthood and service. Grenada Ministry of Health monitoring measles resurgence in the U.S. U.S.-China trade war. Chinese businesses look to new markets. Thank you for listening.